Hello beautiful souls, and welcome back to Revenge Hub, the place where justice isn't just served cold, it's served with a side of sweet, sweet karma. I'm so glad you're here today because I have a story for you. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell because we share real stories about standing up, speaking out, and watching the universe deliver exactly what people deserve. And to my loyal Revenge Hub family, thank you for being here. Your comments, your support, your own stories keep this community thriving. Now grab your coffee, tea, or whatever brings you comfort, because today's story is going to take you on a journey. It's about family, betrayal, unexpected twists, and the kind of ending that'll make you believe in karma again. Let's get into it. Picture this. You're 28 years old, working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. Your mother, the woman who's supposed to love you unconditionally, looks you dead in the eye and says, "It's $1,350 for each flight. If you can't pay, stay home." This isn't about a luxury vacation. This is about your grandmother's 80th birthday celebration. Your grandmother, the woman who raised you when your mother was too busy climbing social ladders and marrying rich husband number 3. You nod in silence because what else can you do? You've learned that arguing with a narcissist only feeds them. But then, something lands in your inbox. Something that changes everything. And I'm not talking about a discount flight deal. What happens next? Well, it involves a secret will, a stunning revelation, and a family reunion that nobody, especially not dear old mom, saw coming. Stay with me because this story has more twists than a pretzel factory. And by the end you're going to be cheering. Trust me on this. My name is Sarah, and for most of my life I believed I was the problem. My mother, Patricia, or Trish as she insisted everyone call her because Patricia sounds so old, had a very specific vision for her life. That vision included a daughter who was thin, popular, compliant, and most importantly, impressive to her country club friends. I was none of those things. I was bookish. I preferred libraries to parties. I graduated high school with honors but without a prom date. I went to state college on scholarships, not because we couldn't afford better. We absolutely could. But because my mother refused to pay for what she called an overpriced education for someone who'll probably just end up pregnant anyway. Harsh. That was a regular Tuesday in my house. My brother Jason, on the other hand, he could do no wrong. He barely graduated high school, crashed 3 cars before he was 20, and got fired from every job my stepfather got him. But he was charming. He knew how to make mom laugh. He called her beautiful and took her to lunch and told her exactly what she wanted to hear. I told her the truth. And narcissists hate the truth. When I was 22 I moved out. Got a tiny studio apartment. Worked as a teacher's aide during the day and waitressed at night. I put myself through my master's degree 1 class at a time. Took me 6 years but I did it. Without a penny from Patricia. She told people I was stubborn and ungrateful. She told her friends I refused her help. The reality. I asked for help once. For a small loan to fix my car so I could get to work. She said no. Then bought Jason a brand new sedan for his birthday 3 weeks later. That's when I learned. Asking for nothing meant she had nothing to hold over me. But there was one person who always saw me. One person who loved me unconditionally. My grandmother, Dorothy. Grandma Dot. Grandma Dot was my mother's mother, though you'd never know they were related. Where my mother was cold, calculated, and obsessed with status, Grandma Dot was warm, funny, and real. She grew up poor during the Depression, worked as a nurse for 40 years, and married my grandfather, a mechanic who treated her like a queen until the day he died. When my mother was too busy for school plays, Grandma Dot was in the front row. When I graduated college, my mother didn't show up. She had a spa day scheduled. But Grandma Dot drove 3 hours, brought me flowers, and took me to dinner. She cried with pride. "Sarah," she told me that night, "you are the best thing your mother ever made. Don't you ever let her convince you otherwise." I visited Grandma. Every Sunday. We'd have tea, play cards, and she'd tell me stories about the old days. She never spoke badly about my mother directly, but sometimes she'd say things like, "Your mother got her father's ambition but forgot his heart." 3 months ago I got a call from Jason. "Grandma's turning 80, he said. Mom's planning this huge party. Family trip to Santa Barbara. 4 days at some fancy resort." "That sounds nice," I said carefully. "Yeah, well, Mom said everyone needs to pay their own way. Flights are $1,350 each. I already booked mine." Of course he did. With whose money, I wondered. But I didn't ask. "I'll figure it out," I said. Here's the thing, I had the money. Barely. I'd been saving for months to finally fix my apartment's leaking ceiling. But this was Grandma's 80th birthday. I'd sleep under a bucket for the next year if it meant being there for her. 2 weeks later, my mother called. She didn't say hello. She never did. "I need your confirmation for the hotel," she said. "And your flight details. The party is October 15th. Don't be late." "I'm working on booking the flight," I said. "Sarah, this isn't complicated. Just book it." "I'm aware, Mom. I'm coordinating with my work schedule." There was a pause. Then in that tone, "You know, the one that sugar-coated venom," she said. "Sarah, if this is about money, just say so. I'm sure we can find a cheaper hotel for you. Something off the property." My face burned. "It's not about money." Because Jason had his booked within 24 hours. But that's Jason. He's responsible. Took a breath. "I'll have it booked by Friday. See that you do. And Sarah, try to lose a few pounds before the party. The photos are important." She hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, tears stinging my eyes. I was 28 years old, had 2 degrees, worked 50-hour weeks. And my mother's concern was whether I'd be thin enough for her party photos. That Friday I transferred the money. Booked the flight. Watched my ceiling repair fund disappear. And then, Sunday morning, as I was making breakfast, I got a text from my mother. My stomach dropped. I pulled up to my mother's house at 1:55 p.m. She lived in a gated community now, her 4th house in 10 years. This one was a sprawling Mediterranean-style villa with a 3-car garage and a fountain in the front yard. My stepfather Gerald's money bought it. Gerald was a retired executive, husband number 3, and the quietest man I'd ever met. He'd learned early on that in Patricia's world, you smiled, nodded, and signed the checks. Jason's BMW was already in the driveway. I walked in to find them in the living room. All white furniture, gold accents, and uncomfortable decorative pillows that screamed, "Don't actually sit here." "Sarah, you're late," my mother said, glancing at her Rolex. "It's 1:58. I said 2 p.m. That means you should arrive early." I bit my tongue and sat down. My mother stood, she always stood during her announcements, and clasped her hands together. "I've called you both here because there's been a change of plans regarding Grandma's birthday celebration." My heart sank. "The resort has increased our costs," she continued. "Between the upgraded suite, the catering, the photographer, and various other expenses, we're now looking at a significantly higher budget." Jason leaned back, completely relaxed. He'd heard this before. "So," my mother said, turning her sharp gaze to me, "we need everyone to contribute their fair share. It's only right." "Contribute how much?" "Yes." "Well, I've done the math. Your father and I are covering the bulk, of course. Jason has generously offered to help with the venue. So what remains is the catering and photography." "How much?" I repeated. $3,200. My mouth fell open. $3,200. I already paid for my flight. "Yes, and that covers your attendance. This covers the actual party. Sarah, this is your grandmother's 80th birthday. Surely she's worth it." The manipulation was breathtaking. making it about loving Grandma when this was really about my mother's ego. I don't have $3,200, I said flatly. My mother's expression shifted to that practiced disappointment. Well, that's unfortunate. But I suppose it reflects priorities. Jason found a way. Jason doesn't pay his own rent, I snapped. Excuse me. Jason sat up, defensive. You live in a condo that Gerald pays for. Your car. Mom's name is on the title. You work part-time at a gym, Jason. Where exactly did you get $3,200? My mother's voice cut like ice. That is enough. How Jason manages his finances is not your concern. But how I manage mine is yours. When it affects family commitments, yes. I stood up. This is insane. You've already spent, what? $15,000 on this party. Why does everything need to be so expensive? Because your grandmother deserves the best. Grandma would be happy with cake in her backyard. Don't you dare presume to know what she wants. Unlike you, I actually talk to my mother regularly. That was a lie. I visited Grandma every single week. My mother went maybe once a month, always announced, always with an audience. I grabbed my purse. You know what? Can't do this. I can't pay $3,200 on top of the flight. I'm sorry. My mother's face transformed. Cold, cruel satisfaction. Then I suppose you won't be attending. What? The party is at a private venue. Control the guest list. If you can't contribute, you can't attend. You're uninviting me from Grandma's birthday. I'm not uninviting you. You're choosing not to participate. There's a difference. My hands were shaking. Does Grandma know you're doing this? Your grandmother understands that quality events require investment. Does she know you're charging me $3,200 to attend? Watch your tone, Sarah. I'm calling Grandma. You will not upset her with this. She's 80 years old. The last thing she needs is you whining about money because you've made poor life choices. I felt like I'd been slapped. Jason, to his credit, looked uncomfortable. Mom, maybe we could. Stay out of this, Jason. Sarah needs to learn that actions have consequences. I walked to the door, tears streaming down my face. As I reached it, my mother called out, "It's $1,350 for each flight. If you can't pay, stay home." Wait, she was talking about the flight money too. I already paid for my flight. I turned around. And I'm refunding it. I'm consolidating bookings for a group discount. If you'd like to rebook independently, that's your choice. But the party contribution is non-negotiable. She'd set a trap. She'd always planned this. I walked out and sat in my car for 20 minutes, sobbing. Then I called Grandma. She answered on the second ring, her voice bright and warm. "Sarah, my Sunday girl. You're a day early." "Hi, Grandma," I managed, trying to steady my voice. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Couldn't do it. I couldn't dump this on her. This was supposed to be her celebration. Nothing. Just missing you. I wanted to hear your voice. We talked for half an hour. She told me about her week, about the new mystery novel she was reading, about the bird's nest outside her window. I let her warmth wash over me. When we hung up, I sat in silence. Then I drove home, opened my laptop and started looking at my bank account. If I pulled from my emergency fund, skipped my car insurance payment, ate rice and beans for 2 months. Maybe, just maybe, I was about to transfer the money when my email dinged. My grandmother's name. My heart stopped. I clicked the email with shaking hands. "Dear Ms. Sarah Mitchell, my name is Robert Chen, senior partner at Chen & Associates. I am writing to you regarding an urgent matter concerning your grandmother, Dorothy Walsh. Mrs. Walsh has retained our services to execute certain legal documents and has specifically requested your presence at our office this Wednesday, September 18th, at 10 a.m. This meeting is of a time-sensitive and confidential nature. Please confirm your attendance at your earliest convenience. Mrs. Walsh has emphasized the importance of your discretion. She has requested that you not discuss this meeting with other family members at this time. The matter involves your grandmother's estate planning, and your participation is essential. My mind raced. Estate planning. Why would Grandma need me for estate planning? And why the secrecy? Was she sick? Was something wrong? I immediately called her. No answer. I tried 3 more times over the next hour. Nothing. Finally, at 8 p.m. she called back. Sarah, honey, I'm sorry. I was at my book club. What's going on? Grandma, I got an email from a lawyer. Robert Chin. He said you wanted to see me. About estate planning. There was a pause, a long one. He was supposed to wait until I talked to you first. What's going on? Are you okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. Perfectly healthy. But I do need to see you. Can you make it Wednesday? Of course, but. No buts. Come to the lawyer's office. Everything will make sense, I promise. And Sarah, don't mention this to your mother. Not yet. Why? Another pause. Then, in a voice that was suddenly steel beneath the sweetness. Because, my darling girl, it's time some things were set right. She hung up. I didn't sleep that night. Wednesday morning I called in sick to work, something I never did, and drove to the address in the email. It was a sleek office building downtown, all glass and marble. Robert Chen's office was on the 12th floor. His receptionist led me to a conference room where Grandmother was already seated, looking sharp in a navy blue dress and her favorite pearl earrings. She stood and hugged me tight. There's my girl. Grandma, what's going on? Mr. Chen entered, a distinguished man in his 60s with kind eyes and an expensive suit. Ms. Mitchell, thank you for coming. Please sit. We all sat. Grandma reached over and squeezed my hand. Mr. Chen opened a folder. Ms. Mitchell, your grandmother has asked me to share some information with you regarding her estate. Dorothy, would you like to begin? Grandma turned to me, her blue eyes, so much like mine, clear and determined. Sarah, I'm going to tell you some things about our family that you don't know. And I need you to listen to all of it before you react. Can you do that for me? I nodded, too nervous to speak. When your grandfather died 15 years ago, he left me everything. The house, his pension, his life insurance, and his investment accounts. Your grandfather was a brilliant man, not educated but smart. He invested carefully for 40 years. When he died, our estate was worth $2.3 million. My jaw dropped. What? Your mother doesn't know the full amount. I told her it was around $400,000. I've let her believe for years that I'm living modestly on Social Security and a small pension. But the truth is, your grandfather made sure I'd never want for anything. Why would you hide that? Her expression hardened, something I rarely saw. Because I know my daughter, Sarah. I love her, but I'm not blind to who she is. When your grandfather died, do you know what the first thing Patricia said to me was? I shook my head. She said, well, at least Dad left you comfortable. You'll be able to help us with the house down payment now. Not I'm sorry for your loss. Not are you okay. Her first thought was money. My husband of 52 years had been dead for 3 days, and she was calculating her inheritance. Felt sick. I never gave her a penny, Grandma continued. I told her the estate was smaller than expected, that there were debts, that things were tight. She was angry, but she let it go. And I've watched for 15 years as she's lived her life, going through husbands, spending their money, chasing status, and treating you like an inconvenience. Tears welled in my eyes. I've seen how hard you've worked, Sarah. How you put yourself through school. How you visit me every week, not for money, not for favors, but because you love me. How you listen to my stories, bring me books, remember my birthday. You're the only one who calls just to talk. Jason calls when he needs something. Your mother calls when she wants to show off something new. But you call because you care. Grandma. Let me finish, sweetheart. I'm 80 years old. I'm healthy now, but none of us live forever. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about what happens to everything I have when I'm gone. Mr. Chen slid a document across the table. This is my will, Grandma said. My new will, drafted last month. Sarah, I'm leaving everything to you. The room spun. What? The house, the investments, all of it. Currently valued at approximately $3.1 million. It's yours. But Mom, Jason. Your mother will receive $50,000. Jason will receive $50,000. The rest is yours. I couldn't breathe. $3.1 million. Your grandfather and I worked hard for that money. We were careful, frugal, smart. And I'll be damned if I let it get squandered on your mother's next facelift or Jason's next failed business venture. You've earned this, Sarah. Not by blood, by love. By showing up. By being the grandchild we always dreamed of. But Mom will. Your mother will be furious, Grandma said calmly. Which is why we're telling you now. I want you to know what's coming to you. I want you to understand your worth, not just in money but in life. You are valued. You are loved. And you will be taken care of. Mr. Chen spoke up. Mrs. Walsh has structured the will to make it legally airtight. There are provisions to prevent contestation. It's ironclad. I was crying now, full on sobbing. Grandma, I don't know what to say. Don't say anything. Just live your life knowing you're secure. And Sarah, I'm not dying tomorrow. I plan to be around for a good long while. But I wanted you to know that everything I've built, everything your grandfather built, is going to someone who will respect it. Someone who understands the value of hard work and kindness. She reached over and wiped my tears. Now, about this ridiculous party your mother is throwing. You know about the party. Yes. Grandma's expression turned sour. Oh, I know. She called me 3 weeks ago with her wonderful surprise. A $40,000 party that I specifically told her I didn't want. $40,000. At least. Private venue, photographer, videographer, custom cake from some celebrity baker, 5-course meal, live band. It's absurd. I told her I wanted a small gathering. Maybe dinner at my favorite restaurant with the people I love. She said, Mother, you only turn 80 once. Let me do this for you. Except she's making everyone else pay for it, I said bitterly. What? I told her everything. The $1,350 flight. The $3,200 additional contribution. The threat to exclude me if I couldn't pay. Grandma's face went through a remarkable transformation. From shock to fury to something that looked almost like satisfaction. That girl, she said, and there was steel in her voice. That selfish, manipulative girl. I should have done this years ago. Done what? She looked at Mr. Chen. Move up the timeline. Mrs. Walsh, are you certain? Absolutely. Robert, I want to make a distribution from my estate. A gift. Now, while I'm alive. She turned to me. Sarah, how much did she demand from you? $3,200. And the flight? $1,350. So $4,550 total. Grandma, you don't have to. Hush. Robert, I want to gift Sarah $250,000. Effective immediately. Gasp. Mr. Chen didn't even blink. He'd probably seen this coming. As your attorney, Mrs. Walsh, I should remind you that gifts over $18,000 have tax implications. I'm aware. I have a $13.61 million lifetime gift tax exemption. I've barely touched it. Process the gift. I want the money in Sarah's account by Friday. Grandma, that's too much. She gripped my hands. Sarah Mitchell, you listen to me. This is my money. I earned it, I saved it, and I get to do whatever I damn well please with it. And what would please me most is watching you walk into that party, if you choose to go, knowing that you are more secure, more stable, and more valued than anyone else in that room. But Mom will. Your mother doesn't know about this money, and she won't. Not yet. When I pass, many years from now, she'll find out about the will. But for now, this is between us. She smiled, and it was wicked. Unless you'd like to tell her yourself. An idea was forming in my head. Terrible, wonderful idea. What if? I started slowly. What if I paid her contribution? Excuse me. What if I showed up at the party, having paid everything she demanded? Let her think she won. And then? Grandma's eyes gleamed. And then maybe, some information comes to light about who's really been taking care of you all these years. Mr. Chen cleared his throat. I feel obligated to remind you both that revenge, while emotionally satisfying, can have complications. Robert, Grandma interrupted. You're fired. Mrs. Walsh. I'm joking. You're not fired. But you're a lawyer, not a priest. Sometimes a little justice is good for the soul. We spent the next hour planning. It was like watching a general prepare for battle. And my sweet Grandma was the 5-star general. By the time I left that office, I had a plan, a strategy, and $250,000 being transferred to my account. I felt like I could breathe for the first time in years. On Friday afternoon, I went to my bank and had them draft a cashier's check for $4,550. I took a photo of it and texted it to my mother. She called immediately. Where did you get this money? I had savings. Sarah, that's your entire emergency fund. You said family was important. Grandma's worth it. There was a long pause. I could practically hear her recalculating. Well, I'm glad you came to your senses. I'll see you in Santa Barbara. She hung up without saying thank you. Course. October 15th arrived. I flew to Santa Barbara, checked into the resort, and spent the first day by the pool, relaxing in a way I hadn't been able to in years. Financial security, it turned out, felt better than any spa treatment. That evening was the big party. My mother had rented out an entire beachfront pavilion. There were white drapes billowing in the ocean breeze, hundreds of white roses, string lights, and tables set with gold chargers and crystal glasses. It was beautiful. It was also completely not Grandma.'s style. I arrived in a new dress, navy blue, elegant, $400 that I didn't even flinch at spending. My mother's eyes widened when she saw me. Sarah, you look nice. Thanks, Mom. Jason was there with his girlfriend of the month. Gerald was at the bar, already nursing what looked like a strong scotch. And Grandma. Was holding court, surrounded by her actual friends, ladies from her book club, her former nursing colleagues, neighbors. She saw me and her face lit up. Sarah. I hugged her tight. She whispered, You ready? Born ready, I whispered back. The party went on. Dinner was served. Overdone filet mignon and under-seasoned risotto that cost $150 per plate. The band played jazz standards that nobody danced to. The photographer followed my mother around like she was the birthday girl. Then came the speeches. My mother stood, champagne glass in hand, and tapped it with a knife. Everyone, if I could have your attention. I want to say a few words about my mother. Grandma sat back, her expression neutral. Mom, Patricia began, her voice dripping with practiced emotion. You have been such an inspiration to me. Your strength, your grace, your wisdom, these are the things I try to embody every day. When I planned this party, I wanted it to reflect the incredible woman you are. No expense spared, because you deserve the very best. She went on, about sacrifice and love and family values. It was a masterclass in narcissistic rewriting of history. When she finally finished, people applauded politely. Then Grandma stood. Thank you, Patricia. That was something. She looked around the room. I want to thank all of you for coming. Your presence means the world to me. I know this party was expensive, probably more than my first house cost. Nervous laughter. But what matters isn't the price tag. It's the love. The real love. The kind that shows up not just for parties, but for regular days. For the boring Sundays and the quiet Tuesdays. She looked directly at me. My granddaughter Sarah visits me every single Sunday. Rain or shine. Busy or not. She brings me books, plays cards with me, listens to my stories. She's never asked me for a dime. She's worked 2 jobs to put herself through school. She's the kind of woman who gives without expecting anything in return. My mother's smile was frozen on her face. So I have an announcement, Grandma continued. Sarah, honey, come up here. I stood and walked to her side, my heart pounding. Grandma pulled an envelope from her purse. Sarah, this is a copy of my will. I've had my lawyer make it official, all legal and proper. And I want everyone here to know that when I pass, many, many years from now, you are inheriting my estate. All of it. You could have heard a pin drop. My mother's face went white, then red. What? The house, the investments, everything. It's going to Sarah. You and Jason will each receive $50,000. But Sarah gets the rest. That's not. You said you didn't have. I said a lot of things, Patricia. Turns out, your father was smarter with money than any of us knew. My mother stood shaking. This is insane. I'm your daughter. Yes, you are. And I love you. But love doesn't mean rewarding bad behavior. Sarah has earned this. You've spent your life chasing money through marriages and caring more about appearances than people. That ends now. Jason looked uncomfortable but said nothing. My mother turned to me, her eyes full of fury. You manipulated her. You've been scheming. I didn't know until 2 weeks ago, I said calmly. And even then I didn't ask for it. Grandma made this decision herself. You poisoned her against me. Patricia, Grandma's voice cut through. I'm 80 years old, not senile. I made this choice with a clear mind and a lawyer present. It's done. My mother grabbed her purse. We're leaving. Gerald. Jason. We're leaving. Gerald stood slowly, looking almost relieved to have an excuse to go. Jason hesitated, looked at me, then followed. As my mother reached the pavilion exit, she turned back. You'll never see a penny of that money. I'll contest the will. I'll tie it up in courts for years. Mr. Chan stepped forward. Grandma had invited him, I realized. Mart. Mrs. Blackwell, the will is ironclad. I've made certain of that. Any attempt to contest will result in your $50,000 being donated to charity per the terms of a no contest clause. I suggest you accept the generous gift you've been given. My mother stormed out. The party went silent. Then one of Grandma's book club friends started clapping. Then another. Then the whole room erupted in applause. Grandma hugged me tight. Now that, she whispered, is how you throw a proper party. So that's where Sarah's story stands today. The party continued. And honestly, it was so much better after Patricia left. They cut the pretentious cake. Grandma's actual friends told stories. And Sarah finally got to relax and celebrate the woman who'd always celebrated her. Patricia tried to call the next day. And the day after. Sarah didn't answer. She set boundaries now, firm ones. She talks to Grandma every week still, visits every Sunday still. But her mother. That relationship is on Sarah's terms now. Jason called a week later to apologize. Turns out he'd been getting an allowance from Patricia his whole adult life, and didn't realize how differently Sarah had been treated. He started therapy and working on actually supporting himself. Sometimes the golden child wakes up too. As for the money, Sarah paid off her student loans, fixed her ceiling, and put the rest in savings. She's still working both jobs because she loves them, but she sleeps better now. Security feels good. And Grandma. is doing great. She's already planning her 81st birthday. A small dinner at her favorite Italian restaurant with just Sarah, Mr. Chen, and her book club. No photographers. No 5-course meals. Just love. The real kind. Now I want to talk to you for a minute. 'Cause I know some of you watching this have difficult mothers. Maybe narcissistic ones. Maybe ones who play favorites, who manipulate, who make you feel like you're never enough. And you might be thinking, but she's my mother. I have to keep trying. Here's what I want you to hear. You don't owe anyone access to your life if they use that access to hurt you. Not even family. Especially not family. Blood doesn't give someone a free pass to abuse you, to manipulate you, to make you feel small. Sarah spent years trying to earn her mother's love by shrinking herself, by working harder, by accepting crumbs. And you know what changed? She stopped asking for love from someone who couldn't give it, and she let in the love that was already there. From her grandmother, from friends, from herself. If you're in a situation like Sarah's, I want you to know, you are not the problem. You are not too sensitive. You are not ungrateful. You are enough exactly as you are. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and even for the other person, is to step back and set boundaries. Now, if you enjoyed this story and you want more like it, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. We share stories like this every week. Drop a comment and tell me. Have you ever had to set boundaries with a difficult family member? How did it go? This community is supportive and judgment-free. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes we